Ladies and mostly gentlemen, today we're going to talk about Covenant abilities, and more specifically we're going to take a look at the 4 Death Knight abilities coming to the game in Shadowlands. But before we get into all of that, I just want to thank the sponsor of this video, and that is my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to check me out on Twitch, streaming the Shadowlands alpha every single day, twitch.tv/MrGM. Right, so this is pretty much like the pilot episode of a series that I polled on Twitter. You guys seemed interested in a video like this, so yeah, we're giving it a go. And we're starting off with the Death Knights. Now what I want to do with these videos is essentially just show off the abilities. Now I'm not a class master, I don't know all the classes. I'm really not that knowledgeable about a lot of classes, so essentially these videos are just going to be like showing off the animations, telling you about the abilities, and then you can kind of make your own decisions on whether or not you want to go with that Covenant or not. And yeah, I just want to keep these videos fairly short, just showing off the abilities, and yeah, so let me know down below if this is something you want to see continue. Right, so let's just jump straight into it then with the Carrion ability for the Death Knights, and this is called Shackle the Unworthy. So this says, admonish your target from their past transgressions, reducing the damage they deal to you and dealing arcane damage over time. Shackle the Unworthy's cooldown is reduced when you damage the affected enemy with a rune spending attack. Okay, so this might be an ability you've seen before if you watch any streams on Twitch, as Bastion was one of the first areas available. The animation for this is not that great, honestly. It just kind of makes the enemy a little bit sparklier. It's not that great. As for the ability, pretty cool. I like the fact that you can get the cooldown down by using rune spending attacks. Obviously this is better for like a longer boss fight or something like that. When I was running through Torghast just killing more rats and stuff like that, I really didn't get an opportunity to get the cooldown down, but I did on some of the longer fights though, and it was working fine on the alpha, and it was a pretty cool ability. So that is the Carrion ability, Shackle the Unworthy. Next up, let's talk about the Venthyr ability for the Death Knight, and this is Swarming Mist. So this says a heavy mist surrounds you for 8 seconds, increasing your dodge by 10%, and it deals shadow damage every 1 second to enemies within 10 yards. And every time it deals damage, you gain 3 runic power, up to a maximum of 15. Now the best thing about this ability is it looks absolutely fantastic. If you didn't know, a lot of the Covenants have their own kind of color of anima, the Venthyr one being like a bright deep red, which is just so awesome. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the ability. It only lasts for 8 seconds, so you only get to look cool and red for 8 seconds, but pretty darn awesome. Now the dodge is obviously great for blood DKs, for tanking and stuff like that, and because these abilities aren't spec specific, they do damage as well. Now the 1 minute cooldown isn't too bad at all, and it costs 1 rune with an instant cast, and as I said, it does look absolutely fantastic. Seemed to work pretty great on the alpha when I was trying it out in Torghast. It seemed to deal a fairly substantial amount of damage. Obviously, as I said, 8 seconds doesn't seem that long, but yeah, it's a pretty great ability for the Venthyr, and it makes you look awesome, so yeah. So next up is the Necrolord ability for the Death Knights. Now Necrolords and Death Knights go together like peas and carrots, and their ability is called Abomination Limb. And this says it sprouts an additional limb for a limited time, dealing shadow damage to nearby enemies, and if the enemy is farther away from you, they are pulled to your location. Firstly, this is just an awesome looking ability. It has this like tentacle. I don't know whether or not that's going to change into like an Abomination arm, but as of alpha right now it is a tentacle arm, which yeah, I don't know if that's placeholder, but either way, looks great, sprouts out of the shoulder there. It lasts 12 seconds with a 2-minute cooldown, and the pulling in ability is actually really awesome. Doing it in Torghast is pretty much a death's grip without really having to do anything. You just kind of target it and it drags the enemy towards you. You can kind of target other enemies as well with it dragging them all in. It doesn't do like a mass grip or anything like that. You have to like specifically target them. Don't know if that's something they're going to change, but as of right now, you just have to manually select the mob and it will drag them towards you in pretty much the exact same animation as death's grip. But yeah, I really do like this ability. As I said, Necrolords and Death Knights go together really well. It's like a perfect thematic joining. Big fan of that. And as I said, with 2-minute cooldown, you can do it fairly often and look really awesome with this huge arm sticking out of you. And yeah, as I said, my prediction is that it's probably going to change going through alpha and beta into potentially a Abomination arm as opposed to like a tentacle that you'd see in like patch 8.3. And finally, the Night Fae Death Knight ability is called Death's Due. The thing is with this is it actually replaces Death and Decay, which is now baseline for all Death Knights. So it says it corrupts the targeted ground, causing shadow damage over 10 seconds to targets within the area. Enemies damage deal 1% reduced damage to you, up to a maximum of 15%, and their power is transferred to you as an equal amount of strength. Then it says, while you remain in the area, your Necrotic Strike and Heart Strike will hit additional targets, and your Scourge Strike and Clawing Shadows will hit all enemies. Now the tooltip for this was a little bit broken on the alpha. I only said Scourge Strike, obviously I was in Frost, so I didn't have Scourge Strike, but it looks like this ability will change depending on your spec, which is really good, and as I said, it does replace Death and Decay. Now the animation for this is phenomenal. Obviously the Death and Decay one, we all know what that looks like. This is like a big blue ring, very Night Fae, like their coloration is very much blue and kind of glowing, and I really like the look of it. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal when you're attacking things, just having it glowing on the floor, and it kind of looks like the logo for the Night Fae as well, which I think is quite a neat little addition there. Now it does have the exact same resource cost and cooldown of Death and Decay. I would imagine you'd just be using this pretty similar to how you use Death and Decay right now. I guess one plus of this is that it's not an extra ability that you do need a keybind. This will simply just replace Death and Decay with a pretty awesome looking ability, but yeah, Death Knights and Night Fae doesn't really match, but I think this ability is definitely one of the cooler ones for the Death Knights. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. That is just a short look at some of the abilities for the Death Knight Covenants. Do let me know down below which one is your favorite. If you are a Death Knight main, which one will you be going for? I really do like the Abomination arm. I think that's something that's going to look awesome. Hopefully going through Alpha and Beta, they do change the animation of that, but I'm a big fan of that, and as I said, Necrolord's Death Knights, it's a match made in heaven. Let me know if you want me to continue this. Let me know what class you want to see next. I really want to have some feedback on this. As I said, not massively knowledgeable about a lot of classes, but I'm happy to show off the animations and say a little bit about them. So before I go, guys, I'd like to give a massive shout out to my amazing patrons, YouTube channel members, and Twitch subs. You guys are awesome, and if you'd like to support the channel in any of those ways, links are down below. So leave a like on this video, guys, if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. I've also got a partner Discord channel with over 3,000 members, and as I said, I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. We're going to start getting footage for these videos from the stream, and I would love to get your feedback on that, so that'd be really cool. So if you want to see that, twitch.tv/MrGM. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.